All right, everyone, welcome back. So this little tutorial here is designed to give you a little overview of the menus and tools that you can find in Photoshop. Now, one thing that I want to draw your attention to before we get into anything else are these little double arrows that you can see in various places on our screen. And what these do is they will either open or collapse different menus. That gives you the option to have menus out in the open if you need them, and then to collapse them away again to give you more workspace. So there are a few different ones here, and when you launch Photoshop, your screen may look a little different than mine, and that is very likely because I've collapsed my menus and you haven't just yet. So that's that. So let's take a look at what else we have here. We have our regular file, edit, etc. All of these up here, and there are lots of different things inside of these, and we'll get to those later on. On the left here we have our tool list, and one thing that's really cool in this version of Photoshop is if you hover over these tools, they give you some helpful little hints that actually show you oftentimes what these tools actually do. So I encourage you to explore these and to get an idea of what some of these do, because we're going to cover a few of these in particular in this class, but there's far too much to cover in one day. So on the right hand side here we have a really important menu called the layer menu, and if your tabs are open you will see layers toward the bottom. Now when you open up a document you will have one layer right here, and it is called background. And it's white because when we set up our document, if you recall from the previous tutorial, we chose a white background. Now, one of the most powerful tools in Photoshop is the ability to add layers to your document. And in order to do that, you can click on this little button down here that looks like a page with the side curved up. So if you click on that, you'll see we'll get a second layer here. Now, next to each layer is an eyeball. And by clicking the eyeball on either layer, we can hide it. So let's see what happens if we hide our background. What does that make our document look like? Aha! So now that we've hidden our white background layer, we get this checkerboard pattern here. And the checkerboard pattern indicates transparency. So what that means is our layer that we've created here is transparent. It's completely empty and there's nothing inside. I'm going to put our background back. One other very important tool for getting started is to know about guides. Earlier we went up to the View tab to take a look at how to reveal our rulers. When we're designing things in Photoshop, especially when we're designing things that will be cut on the laser cutter, it's important to be very precise. And while we have our rulers on the top and the side of our document, sometimes we might want to know exactly what a measurement is and where it is in the document itself. So what we can do is we can click inside of a ruler and say we want to have a guide that's going to show us where 3 inches is on our document. So we can click and drag and drop it right on 3 inches, and now we have a nice little line that is going to tell us where 3 inches is. And we can do the same thing from the top ruler. We can click and drag down, and we could put a guide at 3 inches down. So 0, 0 is our origin, and we can say we know now we're 3 inches across and 3 inches down are in our document. And guides are going to play a very important role in when we design for the laser cutter. So that is a basic tour of the Photoshop interface, and we will talk a bit more about some of the tools we'll be focusing on in the next tutorial.